Welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you.
Wow, we are here.
We're here in your vision. This is your vision. Oh, yeah. She's having a baby. Again. Yeah? That's all breathing.
For starters, I'm a Cancer, so I'm super
That
emotional.
explains it. That's good. Okay, what are the tears?
So the tears are, we have arrived. And what do I mean by that? I envision this
You held it in vision.
for a very, very long time. And secondly, my mom transitioned last year from pancreatic cancer, and in this moment, I feel her everywhere. So I'm very thankful for that.
Good things.
Wow, okay. Sorry, yeah, I'm a Cancer. Okay, I got that all out. So now we're good. Now we're good. Thank you. Wow,
The journey, right?
the journey.
It's the journey. Yeah.
It is the journey.
All that it took. What did it take? When did it start? When did your art start from inside?
I feel like that I have always saw life in pictures. I've always been a feeler, and most importantly, I've always been a lover. And so when I look around and I see all of our people, I see all of our people that I've documented from the different cities.
Yeah.
I feel incredibly proud to be sitting in this seat because it has been extremely challenging
Yeah.
to overcome a lot to be melanated in this society. But as I'm sitting right here and I'm looking at you and I'm looking at all of us and I'm looking at all of us on the walls,
Yeah.
I say we have arrived.
You have arrived.
And so documenting our people, melanated people, is a revolutionary act for me. I'm from Deep East Oakland. I am from a very revolutionary place. I am from a very fearless place. I'm from a very unapologetic place. And so I want to give first and foremost a shout to my creator, who is now my ancestor, because without her, literally I would not have been able to feel all of the love that I feel inside of me, because it originated and it started with her first. She was the first foundation of that. So much, much love to my creator, Jeanette the Skates. Secondly, I would like to give a shout out to Deep East Oakland, the city that I'm from, that has allowed for me to be fearless and unapologetic and authentic in the work that I do with documenting our people. But going back to what you were saying, yeah, I've always saw life in pictures and I've always just loved a lot. I've always been the person that was very inquisitive.
Yeah.
But I also was always the one that was shunned for loving so much. And I realize in this moment, right now, as I'm sitting here, that love and being vulnerable has been my superpower. And it has been how I've been able to conquer and overcome. And wow.
Well, it was about 2 years ago. It was about 2 years ago. Where was it? California?
It was.
Okay.
It was in LA.
It ran a lot.
Yeah.
And you gave me a book about hair. And my mother is 99 right now. So that was she was 97. And gave her the book. So she wasn't doing she's not doing a lot of talking. But that book, I took that book, she had a fall, she ended up being in the hospital. And all the things I could take to the hospital to keep her comforted. I took your book. I took her Green Life, and I took your book. Because she would just sit there and go through each page, and she would laugh sometime, and it would just give her peace to see us. And it stayed with me. So you gave it to me. I didn't know it was going to have that level of an impact. So I love your eye, how you see things, how you see us. And so it must be amazing to have your work that's inside of you out for all of us to see, and you've been traveling with it. The journey to get to that place, because people get discouraged when they get a vision of what they are to do in life. What was your journey like to actually to be here now, for us to be here now?
Well, first and foremost, I had to make sure that I established my own inner navigation. And I think before that, it was very cloudy. The journey was very, very cloudy. It was full of a lot of illusions, a lot of like projections, a lot of narratives that weren't really of me.
Okay.
And most importantly, that weren't of our people. And so once I was able to find a sense of inner solitude, impeccable listening, as you say, I was able to really clearly hear, see, but more so hear the path. And so the journey has been a journey of, I feel like, reflection of each time that I get to a certain point. I feel like that I usually would like criticize like where I'm at, and I feel like that
Where was that coming from? Was it fear or
it
not
was
received?
Yeah, it was fear, and it was also a sense of not having the inner navigation to know, not having knowledge of self, and having an inner navigation of knowing, as you have taught us as sacred women, that you have the tools because you are the tool. And I think that for so long, I have been, and us as people have been looking around for these tools because they have taught us and they've made us feel like everything that we need to seek is without.
Outside.
But really, once I realized that it was all within,
Yeah.
I was able to embody the power and carry it through.
Well, you always knew it, that it was always inside, because your work depicts that. I want to go to the little girl here. Whenever I'm teaching sacred women, and you're a sacred woman, yes,
I
you
am
got to
a
go.
sacred
We have to ask you about that.
Yes, you have to ask me
But
about
that little one right there, it was two of them that I totally relate to, and that's our inner child. When we're in a circle and the women are going through their different right now experiences, it's usually around 5 years old, 6 or 7, when the trauma starts. I said, when did the tears begin? What happened? Where were you? Did someone misunderstand you? Were you hit? Were you yelled at? What happened? That little inner child. And she looks like my granddaughter, my 3rd granddaughter. And I want to take care of that inner child more. Because all of that inner child is all of us. You know, so you can get her soul. She's like calling out to us, and to take care of her, really take care of her. That's how I read it. Now, if you look at any of the pictures, everyone has their own experience, right? Yeah. But that was my experience. I went right to sacred women, and where I meet them, even though they're 30 and 40 and up, and in their 20s, I always meet them there. So what does that picture mean to you?
Wow. So Queen is speaking about the photo right here, the first photo that I captured.
The second one, no, the second one. This
the
one's
second
a whole
one.
nother experience.
But this photo right here.
This one right here, the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's interesting because, we'll circle back around the sacred woman. It's interesting because I didn't realize that the reason why, until sacred woman and doing the shadow work and the healing work, the reason why I gravitate to documenting children is because I was in a process of needing to heal my inner child.
Yeah.
And so I always admire the way children have a sense of innocence that has not been stripped away from them. And so when I capture children, I love to make sure that I capture that spirit of innocence. And it reminds me to go back and heal more of myself, to come back and gain more of that innocence. This particular picture right here was captured in 125th in Harlem.
Okay.
And it was a little girl, in her surroundings, and in the world, but not of it. And I admired her for that.
She's seeking.
She was seeking.
She's seeking.
She was seeking.
Yeah.
And she reminded me of myself because she was a wanderer. But she didn't seem lost, though. She was wandering, and, her mother had an African, because it was up the street from the African market.
Yeah.
And her mother had a braiding shop, so her mother was braiding hair.
Okay.
And I can also tell that she appreciated being able to be a part of that process, to the point where she kind of created her own process outside. It was like a regimen. You could tell it was a regimen where it's her mom goes and braids hair, she goes outside, and then she she plays. And what I admired most is that she was able to create a world of her own inside of the world. And when I look at the children that I document, I feel like all of them are able to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very, very important. Because, to go back to what I was saying before, in this society, it's a lot of projections, and it's a lot of us having to confine to this world that is not necessarily of us and that wasn't created for us. And so I feel like it's very important for us to put in the efforts and the healing to create our own world. But we've talked about sacred woman, so this leads right into sacred woman.
Okay.
So I documented all of these photos before I was able to be a part of, I don't even know how to describe it, but it definitely changed my life. Sacred Woman program. For me, it was it's a rites of passage, and it was a rites of passage that I was incredibly in need of, extremely, to be able to really navigate me in the way that I feel like that needed to continue the work that I'm doing. I feel like before I had the rites of passage, it's like, it's like when we're in this thing, this matrix, and it was like, wow, it's like I knew that I didn't know, but it's like, oh no, I didn't know. But then it was parts where I'm like, it was parts where, because of Queen's energy, where she has the ability to have you remember at certain points, but have you be able to add context to whatever it is that you're feeling. But I think about this almost every day, actually, like the before and the now of becoming a sacred woman. Yeah. And for me, if many people have asked me, like, okay, like, what made you become a sacred woman, and what is the difference, or how do you feel? And if I was to say a couple of things, I can say a lot of them, but if I was to say a couple, I would say, one, obedient to spirit.
Oh, yes.
I become incredibly obedient to spirit.
And what gateway is that?
That is the gateway of
sacred. space.
Oh,
Never
sacred
had.
space, Neverhead. Yes, sacred space, Neverhead. Yes, yes, yes. For some reason, I was thinking Sekhmet because that's sacred healing. But yeah,
Well, that you're in the, right in your
Yeah,
face. That's
yeah,
Sekhmet, which
yeah.
is your art.
yes,
Your art
yes,
is very much in your face.
yes, yes,
So,
yes. But
Right.
it is it's the gateway of Neverhead. Yeah, but I was able to be obedient to spirit, establish my own inner navigation,
okay.
learn impeccable listening, learn stillness,
Yeah.
like a real stillness, like a stillness of whatever's going on out there is fine.
It's
And
really what's going on in
it's
here
it's really what's going
is
on
the
in here.
most important thing.
Is the most important thing. What else? A different lens and a different love. I think I really established. Not I think I know I established my love language after becoming a sacred woman. A unity that I've never felt.
Now you say a unity with your family, with other women.
A unity with my family, a unity with other women, a unity with nature, a
Okay,
unity
a
like
unity.
all the way around.
Okay,
Unity.
wonderful.
Being able to go back and heal my inner child and heal and get aware of my triggers,
Yeah.
My behavior patterns.
What gateway was your most challenging?
Ooh-wee.
Out of the 12.
Which game was most challenging? I feel like all of them, I had a lot of work to do in all of them. But I feel like Tahuti.
So oh, the word.
Tahuti. Yeah,
Okay.
Tahuti.
So what lesson did you get from Tahuti?
That you don't always have to be reactional and irrational. I'm a Cancer. I'm a feeler. I'm very emotional, and with Tahuti, it taught me the different tone, the different approach, and truly how to communicate.
Okay.
And it's not always about words, but I feel like Tahuti for me was more about, it is about words, about using your words, but I feel like for me it was about how to navigate, be the observer more and know how to like navigate within like the expression, if that makes any sense. Like before Tahuti, I would want to be the first person with the last word. And I would also want to, like, I feel like because when I was younger, part of my childhood trauma is that people would silence me a lot.
So now you're going to really speak out.
I really wanted to
Yes.
speak out and be heard. And I realized with Tahuti, a lot of it for me was listening rather than speaking. So I learned that with Tahuti. Because when I listen, when I get up at 4 to 6 p.m. in the hours of the ancestors, I'm able to listen. And also, in Tahuti, I did a lot of journaling. I didn't let the words keep me in bondage.
Okay.
I did a lot of surrendering with Tahuti. Well, not in the beginning, but, not in the beginning, but over time, definitely. Yeah, so Tahuti. And I think the next one would be to hurt, our food.
Is medicine.
Our food was it wasn't challenging. It was more so, it was challenging, but it wasn't to the point where it was conflicting my day-to-day as much. But I will say it reminded me of how much I was in my behavior patterns
Okay.
daily.
Well, this mother right here is in our face. So if you would say, okay, I'm going to use, she needs a gateway or 2 or 3. What is the gateway that she is looking for and letting her know it's not too late? You know, it's not too late for you. What does she need?
The gateway that I will feel like, and I captured this photo in Compton in LA.
Okay.
And the gateway that I will feel like she needs
Don't get stuck on one, it's a few.
It is a
You
few.
say 1, 2, and 3.
It is a
First
few.
one and why,
Okay.
second and third.
Okay. Well,
You're doing a
I kinda have
diagnostic thing.
Yeah, because I kind of have like not a bias because I was in the moment.
Yeah.
So this photo doesn't actually. It does reflect her spirit. She's more serious, but she was actually, she was moving when
Okay,
but she was
get
moving.
things done.
So initially, like when I first looked at this, it would be Bess.
Okay.
Because she was literally,
Yeah.
she was
You
in
know her.
movement.
Yeah.
But she, after speaking with her,
Okay.
she felt abandoned by a lot of her family members.
Yeah.
So I would say the gateway of my aunt. Yeah.
As soon as I saw her,
Yeah.
she has a broken heart.
Yes, she does
Many
have a
times
broken
over.
heart. Yes.
And she's our
does.
grandmother, you know, and that broken heart had not shifted.
You know.
And it went right into her daughter and her son. And she was she was misunderstood. They thought she was mean. But she really wasn't. She was just hurt. So we're going to send her love. Because she's our family. She's literally our family. She's at the family reunion.
She is.
She's at the barbecue.
Yes, that was her. You're good. That was her spirit. That was her spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's our aunt.
Yes.
Anybody else relate? Family member here? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the photo was interesting. We're talking about the photo next to it.
Oh,
Yes.
I know that one.
Big Mama.
That's
The
my
hands.
mother. The nails. She had to have her, and in her early days, she had this. She was smoking cigarettes, and she had to shift that. But in all of that, she survived,
She did.
and she was going to be fly no matter
She was
what.
gonna be fine no matter what. And you better go get her those Newports.
Okay.
like seriously, like that's big. What this photo is, because she literally was that. She's the Big Mama.
Yeah.
And she's the one that, even though, like, you know, you have the women, you have the men that are battling confliction.
Yeah.
But they're still like, they're still our protectors.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she was standing at the store
Okay.
with her Newports, but she was making sure I was good. Like, you need anything, baby?
Yeah.
Like, I see, you know, like, don't let nobody mess with you.
That's sacrament. I see everything from the eyes of sacred woman.
Yes. Yes.
Everything
Yes.
in here is just the different gateways. Right here, over here, with the father and the daughter on the shoulders. That's father and daughter.
Yes, and I
we
captured
need
this
that
in Watch
picture.
Los Angeles. Yeah. Watch Los Angeles.
We need that picture in our lives because we need to unify. We need to reconnect and bond again because so many little girls did not have an opportunity to be on their father like that. So many of our households are run by the women, you know. So having an image like this in one's home could probably help to balance them out, I would say, to have them maybe reach out for an uncle or elder in the community because that little girl is secure.
Yes.
She's secure, and so as a result, she's going to choose probably the right man for her
Yes.
in her life. You
Yes.
know, so her heart won't be broken, possibly. But she's not just on her father's shoulders because she knows the whole family behind her. So what's going on with the rest of the family will dictate, but she will honor the men in her
Was
life.
you with me, Queen?
Yes.
When I was, because you on it. You
Yeah.
are on it,
I'm feeling
as you
everything.
always are. Because yes, that
feeling
was the
this one.
energy.
Yeah, right. But she is
That
not,
was the
she's nothing to play
energy.
with though. That little one right there,
Yeah, that was the energy.
she is fierce.
Yes.
And her father makes her feel real secure. So I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
You know, while we're speaking about Sacred Woman, I wanted to ask you when was the journey into establishing Sacred Woman, or just your journey in general?
Well, what I can be consciously aware of is that I opened the doors up to my center, which was at that time called Heal Thyself. But who was really coming in was the women. It was for family, but it was the women that came. And so it led me to have beyond, I was a calling therapist, and I was doing 21-day detox here in Brooklyn. And that went on for many years. But what I saw was that the women needed more. They needed to be in a room with each other. They needed to begin to talk to each other. Because within every woman, she has some answers for her sister or her mother. And that the women, if you bring them all together, they could heal themselves. They could heal each other. Listening to the stories, the hurt, the disappointment. Someone in the room would say, I went through that already. I can do this, and this will help you. Another one says, I'm going through it now. I think I'm coming out of it. So I was listening to their souls talk. And I remember my daughter reminded me that she would, at that time, she maybe was 12 years old, she would listen to, going past this large room where I would have the sister to sister. It was sister to sister back then. And she said, whatever those women are going through, it was scary to her. You know, all of our hurt coming out. So that was like what I did for a good while. In Queen Esther, we joined forces with the sister to sister years ago. And then it morphed into culture. I just saw it go, okay, from generic, the mother, father, sister, brother, to how is it that, what can we do to heal our condition? We need a rites of passage. We were starving for a way of rites of, what did we do as women? What is our way, and how do we handle life, and how do we overcome? So I studied the ancient Kemetic teachings. I also studied Yoruba teachings many years back. And I knew that it was going to take more than a change of a diet, but it was connected. And I realized also that all of that we do in Heal Sacred Women is African natural lifestyle.
It is.
You know?
It is.
And as I was studying, researching for the book, for the work, I said, there is a formula, and it's in the images. The images start to speak. That's why I can take what is now and see the beginning. I can see this Ma'at relationship. I can see that this is a Ma'at because of her hurt, the heart. I can see the inner child speaking from Het Haru, feeling your beauty or not. You know, I can see the hairstyle. I mean, that was my hairstyle. You know, it's so real. And so it's the women. And what I got with the women, when you heal the women, you heal the family. Right? We are the caretakers of the heart. And it shows up in Ma'at. Ma'at is a feminine principle. A whole nation was based on the principle of Ma'at, balance, truth, and righteousness. So the story comes in the image. The story comes in the pictures, the glyphs. So these are our modern day glyphs. I connect it all. It's all modern day glyphs. You know? Wow. The warrior is here with a gun, right? Not knowing how to make their mesh connect, because there's money in one hand and there's a gun in another. So there's a lot of death around birthing ourselves because we don't know how to birth our work. And that's mesh connect. That's what we're sitting in your meshkinet. We're sitting in your birthing. So it took every bit of 40-some years to develop this concept, these concepts, and to take what happened at the beginning of time, bring them into now. We're supernatural beings. Our ancestors tell us that we've never died. You know, we just come again. And we come again with that same knowledge, but more. Each time we come again, reincarnation is an African concept. So it's in this space that we continue to work on our heart and Ma'at and in all the images. It's a fight to get back. All power to the people to pick. You know, it's a fight to get back to ourselves, but we can do it. And so Sacred Woman is that, is to get home where you feel safe.
It's interesting that you said that, because this, as we're sitting here, this exhibition was my contribution and my offering to our people returning home to ourselves. When everybody walks in here, the first thing they see is what they say. It's like, wow, I can see myself.
That's right.
And I document us. So my documentation process is I go in the areas where the media stereotypes and considers the most dangerous areas. And I go and I pull out the love, and the love is us. And so when everyone walks in and they are looking at, first of all, they all think that this is shot, documented in one place, because we have one universal energy. But they're all in different places.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think in this room, it's about like 8 different cities that's inside of this room right now. And it's interesting because the next thing that comes up is that, like, you know, how do you go and walk up to, you know, a stranger, or like, you know, what's the process? And I always tell them, like, they're not strangers, they're my people.
Your people.
Everyone in here is our family members. Every last person in here is our family members.
Absolutely.
And so when I go and I document, I approach them as such. I approach them as if I already know them, because I do.
Okay.
I've already met them before. I know. So I don't approach them as if they're a stranger or as if they're someone other, because they're a reflection of me.
Oh, absolutely. When I look at this picture here, I thought I was in Africa here. It looks like a roundhouse.
Yes.
And he's seeking to get home.
He is.
That's how I saw he's seeking to have a way, a rites of passage, which was stolen from us. You know, we've been stolen, and we just have to get back to ourselves. Our language, our customs, our dress, our
rituals,
medicine, our traditions, our dance, our art. And so he is bare and open to find his way out of destruction and violence. So many of our young people, just like here, are in jail right now. And if someone doesn't come for them, if an elder man, an uncle, a father does not come for them, they'll go that way. But he has a choice. He's on the edge of something great. He is a seeker. He found himself in different places, but he never was home there. He held on to that. So that DNA, it's there. You know, so I can feel that. Every one of your pictures is a whole story.
Thank you.
Actually, they're chapters. I was thinking about things from books.
You know, when you were talking about Sacred Woman, now, and I didn't realize I was doing this before, but now that I am a Sacred Woman, I went through all the gateways. I have to actually apply all the gateways in every part of my documentation. So I have to apply Tahuti to where when I first walk up to one of our people, it's like I have to realize, like, okay, like I have to like study, like, because it's a disarming, because we have been conditioned to be against. We have been conditioned to disconnect.
But you lead with your heart. Because you lead with your heart, they feel you. They know it's real. They know you're going to honor them. They know that you're not going to debase them. So there is a mutual love and respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to
Yeah.
represent them in the best way.
Yeah, it's a sense of what I like to what I always now like make sure that our people know that is a superpower is a vulnerability, because when you first when I think about it, like if I wasn't able to be in a vulnerable state enough to be transparent enough, because I have to make our people feel, like you said, it has to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But in order for them to feel comfortable, I have to make sure I'm in a state of there is no fear. There's nothing but like a reflection of you see me, and you see me because you see yourself. And it's interesting because when I was thinking about this earlier before the talk, I said to myself that we live in a society where success is not a reflection of self-nourishment. And I'm gonna say that again. Success is not a reflection of self-nourishment. So I think to myself, how can you be successful if you have not nourished yourself, if you have not created a self-nourishment practice for yourself? And I didn't really, because to bring it back to what I was saying earlier, I documented all of this before I became a sacred woman, but I didn't realize until after becoming a sacred woman that I had to go back and really establish my self-care nourishment practice. What does that look like? Like when we wake up every day, we are taught to live for other people. We are taught that we can't take off work, or if we're sick, like everything that is within us is put on the back burner. And it wasn't until Sacred Woman where I had full autonomy and agency over myself. And over my practice of I have to create my own self-inner laws. I have to create my own self-navigation, because no one's coming to save us. We must save ourselves. And that's one of the most important things that I learned from Sacred Woman, is that you have to heal yourself. You cannot rely on anybody else to heal you. And that cannot be secondary. That has to come first. And that is the real wealth. Self-nourishment is the wealth. That is the success. But in this society, everything is considered success but that.
Everything but that.
Everything but that.
So, thank you, as an artist, because to be an artist is like so supernatural. Because we're like, how do you do it? How do you make a living? How do you make it happen? Do you 3 or 4 different ways of doing your art? How do you make it happen for your sustainability?
That part.
That part.
That's the part right there. How do you sustain? Another thing I learned, it wasn't until Sacred Woman where it was like, you're always in abundance. As above, so below. As within, so without. That's it. Done. Remember we used to be on the calls and used to be like, you used to say, like, when people used to want to continue to eat a certain way, no. You've been eating this way for a long time. Today is the last day. That's done. Done.
Boot camp.
Boot camp. No, but yeah, when you know that you are always in abundance, when you know that you're in abundance, like our whole being is of abundance. So once you really understand that, it's like, I am that I am. I am that I am. And it took me a while to be able to really understand that. But it wasn't until I established, to go back to what I was saying, my own inner self, laws, my own navigation. So if I'm creating my own navigation, it's like, I'm not worried about the outside, chaos. That's not of me. That ain't got nothing to do with me at all. Because I'm continuing to create my own navigation, my own reality. There's multiple, we live in multiple different realities. But it's very important to establish your own reality, because within establishing your own reality, in that process, that's how you get to the root of you check in with yourself. You hold yourself accountable. you allow for others to hold you accountable. You are able to have that impeccable listening, so you're able to really like horn in and manifest the life that you want to live, and then execute and apply.
Okay.
But it's all a process, though. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not supposed to happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. It just doesn't work that way. And I feel like in a society, because it's like instant gratification and everything is so instant, and it's like, no, healing doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I remember like I felt very disappointed in myself last year because I went through my rites of passage, and then my mom transitioned, and pretty much everything that I learned, I was like, nope, get somebody else to do it. I don't want to do it. Nope, not doing it. I don't want to.
Okay.
And then I realized that it was a disservice to myself, but I had to learn that lesson, because it was in that lesson where I learned that you always said this, like, once you have a reference point, you can always go back to your seat of power. That's it.
Always.
Done. And so it's like, it brings me to tears, because I said this earlier to Richard, like, yo, this is so much bigger than me, because I'm happy that I was able to connect our people.
Yeah.
To be able to feel your energy, because you really saved my life. Like, and when I say you saved my life, in the sense of like, a lot of us, even if it's like a moment of like feeling like depressed or sad or whatever, it's that voice. And a lot of us have other voices. But I hear your voice. Like, get back up.
No matter.
And no matter what, and I'm thankful for that. It's life-changing. No matter what, I hear that voice, like, yo, you know, or even when I'm in a sense of fear, anger, it's like, yo, don't let nobody take you off your seat of power. Done.
You know your seat of power.
Know your seat of power.
You know it. You know it.
Know that it exists. And before becoming a sacred woman, I didn't know that exists at all. I didn't really know what that looked like. I think I had like a slight vision of it, but every time I close my eyes and I meditate now, I can see it. And I go there.
It's actually on the same journey. I just went before you. That's how come I know you. I know us. And being an entrepreneur is freedom. It's liberation.
It
to
is
be
liberation.
able to create what you need from your own soul. And to be sustainable from your own soul, but it's a journey that you could be discouraged and you could be broken. It's in those moments when the breakdown would happen, is when I start asking the questions. How do I get from out of this? What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who is going to assist me? You know, that's so valuable, because you'll know you always have everything you need. It's just asking, listening, and then being obedient. Because look at us here. You brought me in.
I did. Oh, I did.
You brought me into the world.
And it's so, I did. And I said to myself, and this is the power of doing the work.
Yeah.
Because I said to myself, like, our people need to feel queen. The people that have been forgotten in our hoods need to feel your energy. Because they forgot about us. I never did, though, and you never did. And that's why it's very important to go back. But I did. I remember saying to myself, like, I wish everything is beautiful, but I need Queen to be here. I need Queen. It'll be a 360, a full circle moment. And I came in, and then Richard was like, yep, guess what? I got Queen. I'm like, oh wow, oh wow. But yeah, like I said, it's bigger than me, because I knew after I did my rites of passage, I remember feeling like, oh man, if all of our people had this, oh my gosh. Whoo-wee.
We'd be all right.
We will be all
So
right.
great.
We will be so great.
Yeah.
And I think what it is too, somebody asked me too, like, oh, well, is it a lot of, is it something that like she does? And I'm like, no. She did what she did. She created the curriculum. You got to do the work.
That's it.
That was like a missed thing to where it's like, oh, she did. Was like, no. She did what you, it's a lot of what you got to do. And that kind of goes back into like, even in this moment we're sitting here right now, it's like, I had to do a lot of work to get to this point. And I fell a lot of times. But in my falling, like, if somebody was asking, was I always sure? I mean, my surety came from the love that I have for my people. Like, when I go and document, like you said, it's liberation. It's the most liberating thing because I'm able to really see us. And it's like no media, no system is about to tell me how my people is.
Come on.
They're not about to tell me like nothing about my people at all. Like that's the liberation. Like they're not about to like make me feel like my people is less than. We are not worthy.
Yeah.
No, that's not happening. Like I'm gonna create my own narrative.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna spread that narrative.
Yeah.
And also what I learned from being a sacred woman is that you are the standard. You create the standard.
Yeah.
That's it. And the beauty of being a creator is that no one has created what you created. That's the beauty about being a creator. Like, it's like, nobody created what you created. So it's
That's
like,
true.
why would you not want to do that?
Yeah.
Like, you have the opportunity in life to always create your own blueprint. Like, why would you not want to wake up and create your own blueprint? And yeah, sure, like, you're not gonna always have it figured out, but not supposed to have it all figured out. That's the fun. The fun of it, really, I realize, is not having it all figured out. Because the lessons in not having it all figured out. I have learned so much by falling, and my get back up was amazing. Like I fell so much because really it wasn't really a fall. It was kind of like it was like I'm in a ring. It was kind of like a little stumble, you know, because I didn't find my rhythm yet. You know, but once you find your rhythm, once melanated people find their rhythm, they return home.
Well, it reminds me of,
That's what it is.
you know, I'm thinking about, I share with my daughter my martial art experience in Brooklyn. I studied Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu. And Master Moses Powell would always say, well, you have to practice falling. You actually have to practice falling down. But every time you fall, you say, get back up faster, get back up faster, get back up faster. So, okay, the part of getting up is no, you can get up. Because sometimes people get down, they feel they never can get back up.
Right.
They can't get back in the ring,
Right.
and then they start taking drugs, alcohol, toxic
Right.
food.
Right.
You know, they start hurting themselves because they don't feel they can get back up.
Right.
I saw the tears when you opened your heart in the opening of our sitting together, is that you might have felt that it was so hard to get back up at different points. Will I make it up? Will I take care of my needs? Will this work take care of me?
Will this work take care of me?
You know, because I'm taking care of it.
We'll take care of
Will
it.
it take
We'll
care
take
of
care of
me?
me.
Will it be reciprocity for feeling my people and telling our stories?
Yeah.
And, you know, so I know that you are, because you're here in Brooklyn, you're traveling. So it has to be taken care of you.
Yeah.
But so the journey to become an entrepreneur is a journey that has to be spoken of, because it's great. We all came to do something massive, something great, something so powerful, something so creative.
Right.
And it looks like it's all the way over here.
Right.
Even where we are, Richard Beavers, I don't know a lot of us who have their own
No.
studio like this, you know, that can bring forth the art.
Yes.
You know, how in the world, what vision did he have to carry to bring this type of environment for us to be able to be fed from ourselves, our images. So our stories definitely have to be told in the journey. Some people give up on it. They fall, they're 9 to 5. But 9 to 5 could be great.
Yeah.
But for those who can escape out the trap and be themselves, it's so important now.
It's so important.
It is so important because you cannot rely on other people to pay your way.
You cannot.
We're going to have to rely on each other.
No.
We're going to have to pull from each other.
have to
Our
pull.
community, our village, so we're in the village right here.
We are in the village.
This is the village. These are our people. Look at them.
Look at, yes.
They look like the art.
Yes.
When you look around, this is us.
This is us.
So looking at them, our people, and looking at your work, our work, and looking at you, all this, and then wearing Lorraine's earrings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you gave it to us
all
again.
her jewelry.
All her jewelry.
Yes.
So, we are the most creative
We just
people.
are. Yes.
We have that gift.
We do.
And so you, as a forerunner of the creative spirit, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you found your way to Sacred Woman. I didn't know you would go all the way. You went all the way and then some. I knew that you were focused, but so when I found out, I said, oh, amazing. I'm so grateful that you did take the journey and that you're speaking out, because Sacred Woman is a lifesaver.
It is. It is a lifesaver.
It's a gift that the Creator gave to us.
When you were just speaking about just martial arts, it reminded me of like one of the most, I forgot earlier on in the conversation, one of the most important things I learned is breath. Ooh-wee. Is breath. Like learning how to breathe. Yeah. You will be surprised. Anger, sadness, depression, like in a matter of like, just breathe.
Well,
just
breathe. I'm a master breathologist.
Master
breathologist. It's true. Well, sometimes from the time that the way many are born into this world, they get hit on their bottom to come in. The shock starts at day one of your life, right? And the bright lights and everything is like right there. So the breath is to start to let go of the pain and the hurt. Sometimes we just stop breathing. We breathe shallow. We're living shallow. So we do. You got to the 1,000 lotus breaths from gateway to gateway.
Yes.
You kept evolving.
And fire breaths, because it's like, okay, it's breathing, and there's a fire breath. But then you have the breath of life, where you take the breath of life and it soothes you and it prepares you for that breath. But just breathing, like it's interesting that we are in our bodies and we don't really understand breathing. Like we're in this all day, but it's like we don't take time out to breathe. And even now when I document, when I speak, or even before I sat here, I can be around, but I'm like, I gotta breathe. Like how am I out here living if I'm not breathing? Like I'm literally breathing, but I'm not doing my breath work though. Like it's like, so I learned that. And then another thing that came to mind when you were talking about the martial arts is surrendering. Okay. And that was a very, very, very tough one for me. Because surrendering is looked at as a weakness. But really what I realized is that like, you hold on to something so tight, like it can have you literally not only like lose your balance, but it'll create distractions if you're holding on to something so tight. And even also it can create a sense of dis-ease. A lot of dis-ease come from us not surrendering and letting go. I realized that even more so in the process of my mom transitioning, her becoming an ancestor.
That right there, saying the ancestor, calling forth the ancestor heals our heart. To know that our family member is not in that grave, that they're free of the body. They call it the life, and then the afterlife. She has an afterlife. So you said my mother is here. Why would she not be here? She wants to walk with you, and she still has so much to teach you. And to know that you can pour libation for your mother and call her forth, and she's talking to you while other people are speaking, but she's also speaking to you and say, go here, don't go there, watch what you're doing over here. You have an angel, you have a guardian who supports and protects you. Just to know that is so empowering. So your mom, when she comes to you, how does she come to you?
How does she come in?
Does she come in your dreams? Does she come?
Yeah,
when
she
you
came
wake
to me in
up
my
to
dreams,
other
and
people?
she told me that she definitely arrived to the other side. But it took a while just because I didn't want to surrender, and I wanted to. I'm still working on this. 'Cause I'm in therapy, but yeah, I want to keep her here,
What's your mother's name?
Janetta.
Janetta?
Janetta.
Janetta? Let's call her. Let her know that we're all here with Mom and that Mother, your mother, is active. So let's just do a chant. Call your mom twice. Can we do that? Can we all support you? Can we all support? Yeah. Okay. So everyone just take a breath. Let go. Let go of all the tension, stress, anxiety of the world. And we're going to call our ancestor to our beloved. And she's already here, but she will just appreciate that she's being called by the village. Let's take a deep breath in from the bottom of our feet into our heart, into our consciousness, our crown, and exhale all doubt and all fear of your culture. Let it go. And inhale your cultural right to stay connected to your ancestors. And exhale out. And call your mother's name, and we're going to chant your mom. Call her name.
Janetta.
Janetta. Call her for our mother. Janetta. Feel her spirit. Janetta. Janetta. We are so grateful that your daughter is here. And we, her village, continue to call her name. And we are so grateful that you birthed such a precious daughter. Janetta. And may her art continue to grow through her. And may she be prosperous and always know that you are there. Always know that she is being taken care of by her mother. Janetta. Now take your hands and place them over your heart. For we all have an ancestor who's walking with us and guiding us and helping us and lifting us up. May our ancestors, may we feel them, you being a feeler, may we know that they're there. May we hear their message of love and nurturing us, that we are not alone and that we will never be alone, and that they will always be with us. It is our right to know that our ancestors are alive in the spiritual realm, and we thank them, our mothers, our fathers, our grandmothers' spirits, our grandfathers. Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you. Thank you. As we were doing that, I thought about in the year of last year, like the sacred nation.
Did you say sacred nation? All right.
The sacred nation.
All right, but that's where we are now? It's a sacred nation? How y'all feel about that? How y'all feel? We're a sacred nation? Ali said that, my youngest. He said that some years ago. I said, they're not ready for that, Ali. It's still a bit too much.
No, it's a sacred nation. It's a sacred nation.
That's what it needs to be. Why does it need to be a sacred nation?
Oh, man, why does it need to be a sacred nation? Well, for me, after my mom transitioned, and literally, like, if I had a moment of, like, I was having suicidal thoughts, I was low, and I was able to call on any of my sacred sisters here and near.
Okay.
Like, from all over, and they were able to send me myrrh, speak life into me. And every last one of them reminded me of my mother, and it was in the way of, and I think most importantly is that when you have a sense of knowledge itself too, it's like you feel isolated. You feel isolated. You feel like you're the other. A lot of times because you're breaking generational curses, like, and so you're scared because you want to. Because we're a part of a lifestyle already, but then you have to. And I feel like there's some of us or a lot of us that were before we got into Sacred Woman, we already had like certain things within us that led us in. You know, we were already inquisitive about certain things. Yes. And so why it needs to be a sacred nation is that one, the inner, like everything that we learn inside of Sacred Woman, because it's like you said, it's the Wellness Warriors and it's Sacred Woman, but it is literally the navigation and it's the knowledge itself that all of our people need to really be able to build back up the healthy foundations in our communities. And I remember after like my mom's transition and when I was able to like call upon like any of the sacred sisters, and I remember feeling like, dang, like I have never felt like this before, right? And then I thought about like the gang culture. And I thought about in our communities, a lot of the youth, like, whether it's the man or in any of our, because that's tribal energy. It's just like the energy is like conflicted, but it's still tribal. You know? And so I thought about like, wow, like, what we're seeking like a togetherness. We're seeking a tribeship. And so what I felt like even how on my confidence level, it's just different. Because it's like, when you feel like you got a nation, that's what we like. The Black Panthers is so thing because it's like, it was they wasn't playing. They was coming, and they was coming, and it was a nation of them. They was coming, like they was for real coming. It's like for real. And so we're coming too.
Come on.
You know, but the coming that we're doing is even more divine. It's even more fortified. You know, and it's a sense of like it's a real inner healing. It's a real inner healing because in our family structures, the melanated family has been broken. You know, not to go too deep in it because we already know, and we're gonna focus on the solutions and the love, but they eliminated the fathers. They made the women the single mothers, you know, and the child was left to raise their own. And so it's very, very important for us to get back to looking at ourselves as one and within our nation because it's a collective. Like group economics, all of that is a collective. And then also it holds us accountable. Like I can't walk outside and not say hi to my people. Done. Like I have to say hi to you. Like I have to, it's a certain level of respect that we have to give back to each other. It's just done. Like it's overdue. Like we have to literally wake up and know that like we have to look at ourselves and really see ourselves enough to understand, because not even just, it's one thing to being told, but it's like, I know why I document our people. I know why when I look at everybody in here, I have to say hi to them. I know. And if you don't know, you're not really finna really live by that. So the fact of really is doing the work of really knowing, like what, and that comes from like looking at yourself. Like you're not gonna be able to like look at anybody that look at you if you're not doing the work on yourself. So it starts in yourself. Like I wasn't able to really know the power of what a melanated body or spirit is if I didn't do the spiritual work on myself, my eating, my meditation, my breathing work, my reading, my journaling, like all that is a language. It's an energy. And I'm able to transmute that energy. And from transmuting, I transform that energy. It's all an energy. But it's like, like I cannot like not look at us. Like I look at us through a lens of love and not a lens of trauma. And for far too long, we are living in our trauma and we're making our trauma homes. Like every king that I see is my brother.
Yeah.
Every woman that I see is my sister. Like, that's just what it is. I can't unsee that. I approach them as such.
That's the medicine. That's the
And that
unity.
medicine bag. And that bag. I carry the bag with me. I carry my photography equipment in my bag, and then I carry my green light, my master herbal, my breath of life, and my medicine bag.
You know how to
You feel me? I was missing the medicine bag, but I got the medicine bag now. But yeah, no, it definitely, yes, and I'm happy that you said that, because yes, it is the medicine. That is the medicine. We have been taught to, we have been numbing ourselves.
Yeah.
And not doing the real work. And we have been curing, but not really healing. Yeah. Because killing is also, be very clear, you can speak to this. Healing is not even just that it's not easy, but it don't look, it's not the most comfortable. So a lot of times, like, when I think about some of my issues, like, I didn't want to like confront like my abandonment issues that I had with my father, or my issues I had with my mother, or how I feel bullied, or how my lack thereof. But it's like without confronting that, there's no growth. There's no building without confrontation.
Actually,
and confronting.
living it. You've been confronting it, but you haven't been maybe confronting it. You know, those healed relationships and circumstances, we don't look at them, they come anyway. They come in our choices. They come in our repeating and looping ourselves in again and again and again. So what? Because then we'll start blaming. It's your fault. It helps you to look within, because those relationships are just an extension of yourself. So you actually end the pain, because the pain could look like it's silent. We don't say it, but we feel it, and it's dictating what's happening to us. So just to actually say, I'm in trauma with mother, father, sister. Most are, because we were stolen. When you're stolen and you're divided already, and you went through Willie Lynch for 400 years of slavery, it's time to take the shackles off.
And the bondage.
You know, the bondage, mind. But it takes a detox.
Yes.
It takes a consistent detox.
Yes, it definitely
and finding
takes
our
a
own
detox.
culture, finding our own way.
Yes.
We have a way, we have a path.
Yes.
You know, and so that path. The part that I'm hearing also is the community.
Yes.
And that support, because it's the community that's in the space here.
Yes.
Are there any sacred women that are here today? Could you raise your hand?
Oh, wow.
In community with your sisters that came out to give you that. That's why you smile all strong.
You feel that energy.
Extra.
I told the nation. I told
The
you.
nation, we're here for
I'll tell
you.
you know. But then the biggest thing when you were just saying that, what made me think about is energy.
Yeah.
Like energy. And I think that was another big thing in Sacred Woman. Like, yo, what energy are you consuming? What energy are you absorbing?
Yeah.
What do your surroundings look like? You gotta check in with yourself. Like, okay, your surroundings not really, hold up. Like, how much you giving to yourself every day? You giving so much to everybody else. What you giving to yourself? Like, how do you speak to yourself? How do you speak to yourself? Before you speak to anybody else, how are you speaking to yourself? Yeah. What is that language like? What is that navigation like? Do you know how to navigate within yourself? Do you know yourself? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And that work, I feel like we've been putting it off for a while, for a long time. We put it off. Whether it's for a job, whether it's for a relationship, whatever it is, we put it off. And it's like, the only way out is in. That's it. The only way out is in. And so energy is incredibly a major part, because it's literally all that there is. This is energy. Everything that you walk into, and if you say that you're not affected, oh no, that energy don't affect me. It's like, no, energy affects you. It does. And so really checking in, like how much, like I said, what energy that you're absorbing, what energy that you're consuming. what spirits that you have around you. Because there's people that build to build, but there's others that build to destroy. Yeah. And I realized that. So it's like everybody around me is on a certain frequency, it's on a certain vibration. And I think you but I heard you say that, you know, you said the word doubt. And before Sacred Woman, I had a lot of self-doubt. I have no self-doubt. Like I know I'm divinely.
Ooh, you must be checked in.
Yeah. All the way checked in, all the way checked in, all the way
you tuned, but in that
tuned
checking
in divine, literally divine order, like all the way. And this is also another thing that was a reflection of this exhibition is us activating our spirit. I always say I'm never giving anything to our people. I'm always allowing them to return home and tap back to what they already have. Okay. That's why when they walk in here, it's very familiar, like, I know what this is. Like everybody know what this is, and we've been lying dormant for a while, but it's time to wake up now. It's an awakening.
When I'm thinking about that, I think about this little girl.
This was shot in Kingston, Jamaica.
What is the name of this piece?
What's the, Tenement Yard. This is my curator, by the way. He curated the whole exhibition, named all of the photos, and did the audio. But yeah, Tenement Yard.
That little girl, what is she saying with her father? Oh, it's her mom. Okay, mom.
Yeah, it's her mother, yeah.
Yeah. What is she saying? She's an old soul. This is definitely not her first time on the planet. She's done it before. Matter of fact, she came to help her mother.
Yeah.
She's going to help her mother.
Yeah.
She's like a grandmother. You know, sometimes when someone passes in the family, we'll see a grandparent come back in the child. Like you said, they're coming again. She's that one for the family. She'll have, I think that you probably had some of that as a little girl. You know, that you can see things that other family members could not really see. Yeah. You had discernment. Yeah. They didn't always hear you. But when did you realize that you had that? At what point?
I didn't have a lot of friends when I was like younger, because I always, like what I was into wasn't like accepted. But it's interesting now, because like everything now 360, it's like, oh, everybody wants to be my friend now. But I didn't have like a lot of friends, so I was able to spend a lot of time with myself. And I feel like it was about I'm gonna say around like 10. I feel like that I always kind of like. I always just felt everything.
Very sensitive.
Well, I was very just highly sensitive. I still feel everything, but literally when I look around here, it's like, yo, this is how I'm able to like do the work that I do, because I'm a feeler. If I see you, I'm gonna tell you I love you. I'm gonna tell you like, and in this world that we live in, we're supposed to shut off emotions. I never knew how to shut off emotions. That's why I'm able to document all us around the world, because it's like I don't know how to like shut that off. I never did. And I'm happy that I'm about to be 30. My birthday is July 13th. In a couple of days, I'm about to be 34 years old. And I'm happy that thank you.
Happy solar return.
Yeah, I'm happy that I didn't shut off emotions. And I'm happy that,
well, why would someone want to shut off their emotions, you think?
Because, I mean, for men, number one, they're taught to not be vulnerable. Right. They're taught to not cry. They're taught that it's a weakness. When in reality, when you think about it, it's like, yo, we all feel. Now, whether we express those feelings is one thing, but we all feel. And it's like, it's absolutely insanity to keep that inside. Like, you can't keep that inside. And if you do keep that inside, it's like a volcano that eventually erupts. Yeah. So it's like you can't keep that inside. And it's like, why would you want to? But it's because we have been conditioned. Yeah. And so it takes a lot of, which is in the process of Sacred Woman too, I had to do a lot of unlearning to relearn. Because it takes a lot of like really sitting with yourself and realizing that this or that doesn't waver me. So it doesn't make me less than because I'm crying as a man. No, I'm actually, it's releasing. Yeah. It's a releasement. Absolutely. But you also have to make sure that you create these sacred spaces enough to be vulnerable. Yeah. So you won't feel like you're taken advantage of. And that requires you having that impeccable listening, also realizing what energy that you consume and absorb, and also not be so reactionary in the sense of like, allow for people to be them, enough to open up. Like, interesting, speaking about crying, there's a photo you can't really see of a man crying on this wall, and he's from East. We can show it at the end, but he's from East Oakland, where I'm from.
Okay.
And a lot of the men, actually, a good amount of them, when I document them, like in the cities that I go into, like either they're on the verge of crying or they actually do cry because I see them and I hold space for them. We have to hold space for them because our men are soldiers in war, but not prepared for war. And so the preparation is the unconditional love that they feel from the women.
Well,
like I touch, like when I see our people, like I touch them so they can feel you, they can feel our energy, so they can know like, yo, it's safe.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
the fact that our men are not letting that out, releasing that pain, they die early.
They do.
That's
do
a heart
definitely
attack,
die early.
That's a stroke, that's an aneurysm. The reason why we live so long is because we talk. We talk as women, we cry, we fall out on each other to get help and refuge, and we'll say, I don't feel good, I'm hurting. Where our men are trained, to be a man, just toughen up and take it. And so then you have, many of our men get angry. After holding and suppressing 40 years of that, time in their 40s or 50s, they're exploding, imploding.
Imploding.
So there's a healing that has to take place. But the way that you reached out, and reach out in your art, reach out in your spirit, that would allow them to be comfortable and safe, that they can let go of that pain.
When I look at these young kings right here, this young king is documented in Brownsville, Brooklyn. These kings are documented in West Side Chicago. And the beauty about these two photos is that, and a lot of the photos that I document, but the beauty is that the narrative has already been written for them. So the narrative is that you're not going to make it past 25, and they digest and they live with this narrative to where they are outwardly walking in the world. Like if we sit with that, if you go out in the world and you think that you're not going to live past 25, your decision making and your critical thinking skills are quite different. You're not really having any creative thinking because you're like, oh, I'm not about to really live that long anyway, so it's just kind of like whatever. And most importantly, which I learned back in Sacred Woman, is to be intentional. My eating's intentional. My everything is like very, very intentional. The energy that I give out, my communication is intentional. But back to the point, like when I see them, like every time I walk into, all of our innocence has been stripped. But when I see the young kings, like their innocence have been stripped. Like there's so many of men and young kings at like 12 that have saw like their friends die right in front of them. And it's just like, oh, it's normal. Like, oh yeah, I saw like 3 people die in front of me. Like, and they just kind of go about like that's like regular. And we have normalized our conditions. We have normalized our trauma, and it's not normal.
So we're numbing out.
And we're numbing out. And like I said, it's not a weakness to be able. Releasement is not releasement is surrendering, and a releasement is not a weakness. That's first and foremost. It's not weak to be able to release. We all have to release. That's the only way to be able to move forward, is to be able to release. Because then you're able to, lessons come from the releasement, and then you're able to make steps forward. But if you're not releasing, like, and it's literally impossible. I mean, because really to me, if you're not expressing, are you really living? Like, it's like, what type of life is that if you're not? And like I said, sacred spaces, I feel like for our men and our people in general, like even when I document, the way when you see these photos, I create a sacred space for them. I allow for them to like literally feel me, so then they're able to be discarded, and it's not a feeling of like, exploiting or any of that, but it's a feeling of like, yo, I am a reflection of you.
Yeah.
We all are feeling the same, you know? And so a lot of times why we isolate ourselves and we kind of like hide our emotions is because we're embarrassed.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no embarrassment in healing. Healing is just healing. That's it. It's the embarrassment gone, done, as you say, done. You can't be embarrassed because it's like at every point, like we're all, no matter how old you get, like you're gonna all, the healing never stops. So to feel like embarrassed at every point, it's like you just have to allow yourself to flow and create your own flow within the flow, but allow yourself to flow. And most importantly, our men are deserving, just as women are deserving to have a space to be able to express themselves, to be able to cry, to be able, a lot of them from their mothers have been taught to be strong from their creator, from very on. Like, no, you have to be tough.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, you can't cry, or, you know, if you cry, you're weak because because of our family structures, they had to maybe take care of the mother because the father wasn't there. So their innocence has been stripped away from them to where they don't really, it's uncomfortable it's literally uncomfortable for them to speak about their emotions. Yeah. But it's like, when you think about that, it's like, how are you existing without, like, how are you living if you don't speak about your emotions?
Well, you're not whole, because we have two sides. It's the left and right hemisphere, and both women and men have it. The right brain is all about the creative, the intuitive, and the left brain is about the material and the building. If you could bring those together within us, ourselves, healing, and you can bring that within our community, then we become whole, become strong, become powerful. Because even in art, one side is you can create the art, but then how do you sustain yourself? And so that's right brain, I'm creating. Now I must make profit in order to continue to thrive. We don't want to be starving artists, right? And this type of forum, talking to our community, see, so do we take them home? Do they help us? These images remind us. How do they access these images?
Yeah, so all of these images are for purchase by Richard Beaver, who it's funny, you always know how to segue it right back in. So I want to, in this moment, give a very special shout out to Richard Beaver.
Yeah. Where is he? Over there?
A very, very shout out to Richard Beaver. Very, very shout out to him. So I could have been represented by anybody. I chose to be represented by Richard Beaver just to go back to the conversation that we were saying that, and when you were saying earlier, like what it took for him to build, like build not one, he has 2 art galleries. Amazing. But I will say, because I've been here since June 22nd. And aside from this gallery, like I've been able to be intentionally around him. And I realized that like the most wealthiest part about him is how he treats his family, how he treats his son, how he treats his wife, how he treats the people around him. It's the most wealthiest part about him. And I realized that a lot of us we don't really understand like that is the real wealth, how we treat our family and how we treat the people around us. And so me being signed to him really like is an important representation because it's a solidarity, it's a unity between a man and a woman, but specifically a melanated man and a melanated woman. And in this society that we're in right now, like we are taught to be against, and we are taught to go against the melanated man as melanated woman. And one of the things that you taught us that I learned in Sacred Woman, because a lot of ideologies, they disregard the man. And in Sacred Woman, you always say, no, the man is a part, you don't forget them, you go back and get them. You go back and heal your man. And I thank you for telling me that, because a lot of our women we're bitter. And in a lot of instances, rightfully so, because we're hurt, we're tired, we have struggled, we have suffered. All of us have suffered, but it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, at any point where I'm able to build with any of my people, but specifically a melanated man at this, like look what we were able to come together and build. And this is just the start of it. Look at the connecting that we can do when we stand in unity, when we stand together.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. Like, and so, like even sitting here right now, but like to go back to what I was saying, like, yeah, I saw him outside of this, and it's all one thing. He's just as compassionate about this, because most people are compassionate about like their work, but then they leave their family behind.
Balance, yeah.
It's a balance. Just as much like energy he gives into this realm of like being a gallerist, he's on point and intentional about being an amazing husband, an amazing father, but most importantly, being someone that's older than me that I can look up to for lessons. Yes. Because I honestly, I didn't know anything about the art world. Nothing about the art industry. And since I've been represented by him, I've been able to come to him and ask him any question. And he's given me an amazing amount of knowledge. And a lot of our a lot of the youth is looking for that, looking for a lot of our elders to guide us and give us knowledge. Because once we have that, like that's a part of the navigation too. If we have that inner knowledge from our elders, which is why I love you, like, which is why, like I said, in the Sacred Woman, like before you, like as from a woman other than my mother, like I hadn't had a woman to, like an elder of mine that was on the frequency that you were on, that embodied the frequency that you embodied. And from being around you, I was able to create, like, be like the highest frequency as possible. So it's very, very important for us to have our elders, for us to have our elders guide us, but most importantly, also make sure that we pay homage to our elders. When I'm documenting in the cities that I document, I make sure that when I go and I document the kids, I document different things. So I'll make sure I document the mother and the child, I document the children, but I also make sure I go and I pay homage to the elders, because they're the wisdom, they're the gatekeepers. You know, and so speaking of elders, that's my grandfather right there with the gun. That's my grandfather. That is my grandfather, Kingsport, Tennessee. And so in that,
Well,
in
you
that,
know what? I'm relating to that because my father would say, you know, black men, what they need, me growing up, is land and a gun. And the reason why he said that, because he was, so that's why this is a whole family. This is like a family reunion.
It's like a family reunion. That's what I
that's
always
uncle,
say.
that's
It's like
daddy,
a family
that's
reunion.
mother, that's grandmother, that's
grandma,
you as
that's
a child.
Yeah, that's what I told. It's a family reunion for real. It is. It is. But in that photo, so I always tell this story. It's a real story. So like so first of all, they don't know it's my grandfather. But when they know it's my grandfather, it's like, okay, what's the story behind the photo? So he told me, I shot this in 2014. So I shot that photo first before I captured any of these other photos. And in that photo, he told me the gun was loaded. It was pointed to my face. And he said that in this moment, if you are able to take this photo and have no fear, you will be able to be successful in your life because you're going to conquer fear. And I was so scared. And he told me it will be my most legendary photo. And it is my most legendary photo. He's an ancestor now. It's my most legendary photo. And from that moment, I have been able to go and document fearlessly. Fearlessly. The most important thing too about like me documenting is that in these like that photo that's with the beads right there, it's in Baisley Projects, the beads. This photo right here is in Brownsville, Brooklyn. When you Google, and I want all of you, if you remember to do this, when you leave, you're gonna Google Brownsville, Brooklyn. And when Brownsville, Brooklyn pops up, it's going to say crime, shooting, murder. But when you put in Brownsville, Brooklyn, Brittsense, it's going to show all images of our people beautifully. And this right here, this was in Kingston, Jamaica. This in Tivoli Gardens. Tivoli Gardens is the mother of all garrisons. I went to Jamaica by myself in Kingston. Everyone was like telling me to go to resorts. It's like, no, I want to go to Kingston. I want to go to the hoods of the hoods, where our people was at in the trenches, to be able to document our people. And I go and I seek out these places because one is where the most vibrant energy is. But it's for me, it's a remnants of home. I come from East Oakland, so the area that I come from has always been looked at as something that is like negative, criminals, like, but it's like when you look around here, it's like these stories that these people, like if I would have listened to so many people that told me like, oh no, don't go to these communities, like don't document these people. First of all, these people are my people.
Right, first of all.
Second of all, when people ask me like, where is home? I'm home wherever my people is at. So my home is in Cali, my home is in Brownsville, my home is in Baisley Projects, my home is in Houston, Texas, my home is in Bedside, Brooklyn, my home is in Westside, Chicago, it's in Kingston, Jamaica. Everywhere our people is at, I feel at home, and unapologetically. There's people I feel like that's in here that probably have saw me document, and when I go into the communities, I go in there as if I live there.
Well,
like,
you do, it's home.
It's home.
Yeah.
It's home.
I feel there is definitely a mind-child unity between us and our vision, because when I see someone, it's as if I've known them for years. I hug them up and I'll see them again on the journey, but I may have seen their mother. Maybe I work with their grandmother because I've been doing it for decades. So these are our people, and that's our survival. That's how we'll thrive. This is our market. So we come to the marketplace sharing our gifts. Your gifts are inspiring us. Your gifts are helping to connect us. Your gifts are saying, take this art, bring it home, and let it talk to you. Let it fill your house up with possibilities and wellness and us and loving us.
And to go back into that, what it really is that, like, listen, our communities were intentionally, we don't be messing with nobody. So when we be in our communities and messing with nobody, we be cool. Our communities were intentionally sabotaged. So when I document our people, it's like a thing of like, we know stuff is clearly messed up, but it's an energy there to where it's like we have been made to live in this, but it's like this, it feels like home. It's just like, it like, whether it's in the projects, you might have like bars, like they've intentionally, the power is that they have done everything, like even in the projects, like the projects is a certain color. They have, everywhere I document, there's brick walls, there's bars, like to make us feel like we gelled in. And this little girl is in front of her projects, skating like that does not exist, because in her spirit, it doesn't exist. It was implanted in us. It was intentionally implanted in us. So we don't come from, we are the original people. So we don't originate from slavery. We don't originate. We are the original people of this land, the first people. That's it. That's that. And so once you know that, it's like all of the other things that have been sabotaged, like created to sabotage us and destroy us, is all like a simulation, really. It's real, but it's like a simulation of like, I feel very like, while I'm in this, like, yeah, she's at home, because she is at home. But everything around us, and that's why it's very much important, the energy that we give to each other in these spaces, it's very, very important. Because when I go in Brownsville and when I go in Baisley, I get love. I get love. Like, I don't get, like, I get very much like, I see the people there, like, even though the energy, like I said, it is an energy in a lot of these places that's low vibrational, but that was intentionally put in our communities. So that's why it's very, very important for us when we go out into the world to change the algorithm, to change the narrative, and to change the energy. And we do that by reminding each and everyone where we come from and who we are as people. So when I see her, it's like, yeah, she's in the hood, but I look at her, when I saw her, like, yo, I love your crown.
Yeah.
Like, I love your skin. Like, oh, you're beautiful.
Yeah, she's in it, but she's not of it.
She's in it, but she's
She
not of
transcended
it.
it.
Yes, yes. It's almost as if like it's a muck. Like it's like, this is on me, but it's not of me, and I'm not confined to it. And a lot of us are confined to like our communities. We're confined to like our spaces because we're comfortable there. And I feel like that we hold a lot of, we hold a lot of like loyalty to it. And I feel like that's good, but I also feel like that that's why also when I document this too, it's to plant seeds to travel. Because a lot of us like don't like to travel and see our people. I want to see my people everywhere. Okay. I want to feel all my people's energy. Everywhere I go, I want to see their energy. I want to feel them. I want to be able to tell them, yo, I love them. Before I transition to become an ancestor, I want to tell so many of our people I love them. I love you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue. That's the mission of this. I can tell so many people. I got thousands and thousands of photos where I've been able to tell our people like, yo, I love them, and I've been able to document them and make them feel worthy. So many of them, like we said before, like no, they don't feel worthy of documenting because we've been made to feel like we are of our conditions, but we're not our conditions. And we are very much worthy to be in a gallery. Yeah. We're very much worthy to be documented. Yes. We're very much worthy to be told that we are the most beautiful people because we are. Like they're like, it's a trick. We just have to like wake up and realize that it's a trick. It's not real. We only make something real when you continue to continue to keep the narrative going. Yeah. But it's not real. Like it's none of that is real. Like we literally are the original people. Like we've been doing this before. When I document too, when I go into communities, there's like writings all over the hoods. And it's like we did that on the pyramids. We've been doing this. Been doing this. Like so it's like we're ancient people. Yeah. Ancient people. We have all been here before, like you said. And so because of that, it's like that's the power right there. Once you know that, it's like that's it. We don't really need too much because we already are it. We don't need a lot. We already are it. Like I said in the beginning, like you have the tools because you are the tool. Once you know that, you're not looking out at so much. And so many of my peers like, yo, how did you create this? Like, how did you create? Aww. So this is my, yes. Come here, baby. Come here. And this is Bailey. This is Bailey. Say hi. This is my amazing niece, who I raised as if she's my daughter.
Okay.
And she has saved my life more times than one. And she's also the reason. She's the reason because she reminds me when I'm feeling low as a woman or as a person. I remember how much work that I still have to do, and I remember, and she helps me do the work. She reminds me to get up every day and hold myself accountable. She reminds me to like, yo, TT, like, drink green juice, eat healthy. Yo, TT, you're not doing your breathing work. You know, she reminds me, and so I'm thankful that I'm surrounded by a lot of reminders, but I also am thankful that I allow myself to receive these reminders. Sure. A lot of us have a lot of reminders, but we go against the reminders. You know, you want to give Queen a hug?
Can I get a hug?
This one right here, she done did one of these numbers. Somebody, she's already taking care of business.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her in sacred routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah.
she's ready.
She is definitely
She's
ready.
fully ready, and she's
Yeah.
confident. You are creating.
Come here,
a
come here, come stay,
narrative.
come stay on camera. So why do we pray to the ancestors?
But they're the one to come forward.
And what do we pray to the ancestors for?
Thinking is food.
And what else?
Guidance.
And what else?
Food.
And what else? She said food twice. and what's the last one? You said food and what else?
Protection.
And protection. Look in the camera. Look in the camera.
Yes. So we teach them, we teach them, we have to continue to teach.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they won't feel rooted and they'll hurt. She knows she has the answers inside of her.
Yeah.
That's how you trained
Yeah.
her, the family. We give thanks. To have, because she's our inner child, in the
She is our
flesh.
inner child.
We're just looking at ourselves.
Yeah.
And she's proud too.
And another thing I've been able to witness, like being around Richard too, is a spirit of like, yo, we in our communities, like all our children is our children. Like it's a village. We have to get back to that. Like it's a village. Like, so also when I'm out and I'm documenting, like all the kids are my kids. Like they're all, it's not, like we have to get back to like really understanding that like we come from a village and we have to maneuver as a village.
When I look at art, because you choose a background,
Different backgrounds. There's a story behind the background.
it's a pyramid.
It is a
It
pyramid.
shows to be right in the center.
It
of
is a
All of
pyramid.
the drama and
It
all
is
the
a
things that
pyramid.
one goes through in that community. And she's right at the base.
It's like, this is like,
It all begins with me.
whatever happened,
I'm the new beginning.
Yes.
and so we continue to rise up.
So grandmother, mother's best friend next door,
Father, uncle,
they're all inside of her.
and she's feeling that power. So
You know, all of your work.
it speaks volumes to us.
And then the last but not least too, this is like so we were talking about these two earlier, but I wanted to bring attention to this, both of these, like what they're putting inside of our communities intentionally. When you go into other communities, I do that intentionally with my photography too. I shot her in front of this church's chicken to show that in our communities, they have liquor stores, they have church's chicken, but they don't have that in other communities.
That's true.
And the biggest thing, I know I've said this a couple of times with Sacred Women, but the biggest thing is that our eating.
Yeah.
We talk about like how they're killing us and like police brutality, which is, yes, they are doing that, but they're killing us in our food.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we do when we wake up every day, we eat.
Yeah.
And so not being mindful about what we're consuming every day is a thing. Not being mindful about what we're giving to our children is a thing.
Yeah.
And I learned that from really learned that from being a sacred woman. Like making sure I have my green juice, making sure I have my teas, and making sure that like the healing starts with like what we're putting inside of our body. A lot of times we talk about healing in other places, but then we're walking around eating certain foods and we're wondering why we feel conflictions, why we feel depressed, why we're feeling angry, why we're feeling sad. And it's like it's the foods that we're eating. And it's intentionally we're being targeted in our communities. We're being targeted to smoke Newports and to drink alcohol. So I make it my business to also like you see that with these two, and you see that with the money and the gun too. So there are certain things in my photography for I like to like plant seeds, and that's and our eating is a very big one. So the gateway to hurt.
So the gateways. This is your work. You've been cultivating a state of mind and growing our community through your vision. Where are you going now with your vision?
Where am I going now?
Because you're expanding by the breath, by the second, right in here, and your expansion is global. Where do you want to take all your work?
Right here in this
Vision.
moment, I don't necessarily know what that answer is. I think that for me, just continuing to document just continuing to just document our people and create continue to create the blueprint of having our people see themselves from a lens of love, and not trauma, and do that all over the world is like what I'm going to, you know, continue to do. But before, because I know we have to leave, but I just want to ask you this last question. For our people, like, what are 3 inner laws that you would say for our people to be able to navigate their self through? And why is it important to also have knowledge of self?
What comes immediately to mind is to go back to our parents and say thank you. There's a lot of hurt, women and men. Some are angry at just the mother. Some are angry at the father for not being there, misunderstood, all the issues that we go through. The minute you say thank you, call your mother up tonight, your father, and just say thank you. Whatever they did or could not do, thank you for their efforts, because that opens up your heart to begin to heal. And if the heart stays wounded, you'll continue to stay in a circle of heart pain. With choosing your mate, it will be your father. Your friends, that will be your mother. So if you can go to your family and say, thank you, I appreciate you. Because your children, when you have children, whatever you don't do as an adult, it will come back, your children will come back to bite you. And you'll be upset with them. I gave you everything. I did this, I did that, and they'll say, but that one thing that I really needed. So the same, you know, what goes around comes around. So if you can forgive your parents, whatever, because sometimes parents have to let you go so that you won't be fully destroyed. They may know that they did not have the wherewithal, but maybe your grandmother did, you know, or maybe your grandfather, but just to say thank you. The other thing is what we say. What we say, you spoke about that in the beginning. What we're saying is creating our reality. So speak what you want. You know, say it with full intention, and then say, Ashe, I received it. In our prayers, we don't beg. We just say, thank you.
Facts.
So it means you have to actually see it. Thank you. And Mesh Connect is your vision. No matter what someone has said to you that you cannot, know that you can. You came here to do something massively great. We're in your mind. We're in your greatness. And this is an example that it can happen.
It can.
So if you're seeing it, that means you have it. So just celebrate that you have it, now be it. Because whatever you have, we want it. If you love it, if you love it with all your heart and all your might, then we're going to love it because you love it. Because I love healing. I can healing, when I do any healing, it's like I'm on vacation. People say, well, Queen, you work so hard. I say, well, I'm healing. I mean, this is like the greatest. Thank you for walking the Power Walk, City of Wellness Power Walk yesterday. We had, you know, Prospect Park. So if you can just wrap yourself around the love of what you came here to do, people will say yes, because you're saying yes. So do it. Say yes to your life. Say yes to your new beginning. Say yes to your right. You have a right to be here, and you have a right to be well, and we have a right to do. So the women, I want to say thank you, because I've never heard, well, I have heard it, but I've never heard just this way, the way that you have lifted up Sacred Woman, you know. Thank you for doing that, because that's because you love us.
I do. And they're literally down, but I wanted to give you your flowers.
Oh, but those are your flowers, aren't those?
No, these were, you gave them to me to give to you. So I want to give you your flowers. And I want to just say thank you. Literally changed my life.
Thank you.
And I thank you. And I hope I have made you proud, because I look at you as my spiritual mother. And I thank you for giving me all the lessons that you've given me. Because you, like I said, when I have my moments, like you're in my head to continue to push through and to continue to create my own narrative, to continue to go back and love on our people, to continue to not have self-doubt, and to be fearless, and to be unapologetically me.
Yes.
And I thank you for that.
Yes.
You're deserving of all the flowers. Thank you for healing so many of our people around the world and not forgetting about us and being an amazing elder that's given us a lot of knowledge. Thank you for the rites of passage that you gave me at 32. It saved my life. And I have arrived, and we have arrived. We're here. So many of us love you. We are thankful for you, and you've saved a lot of us. Thank you for not forgetting about us and remembering us. I thank you.
I'll never forget you. Thank you for sharing your love and your heart with us in your art. Continue to be fearless in your receiving your gifts. And this is a fearless exhibition of us. This is our family reunion.
It is.
And thank you for our healing.
It is.
Thank you, healing. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. Can we give it away? There was so much amazing information that was shared. And if I may give you your flowers. So I am sure that there are many questions and comments and things that you all would like to add, and we are going to allow two to come forward. So does anyone have a question or a comment that they'd like to raise? Yes, sir.
I have a question. Thank you again for the show. It's super dope. I appreciate you. Thank you for hosting. I appreciate you. I want to ask, so you shoot, so like Michael Jordan has this like stick out his tongue, you know. Michael Jackson has this little moonwalk and stuff. I noticed in some of your pictures, and you talked about it a little bit, like your signature. I don't know if it's your signature, but I want you to speak on it. How you photograph people or children from above. I also noticed in the Weary photo that you photographed the man from, that's around the corner. But you photographed that man from above. That's like kind of crying and stuff like that. But I wanted you to kind of speak on why you photograph children from above.
Yeah, that's very, very, very easy to answer because I hold myself accountable to make sure that that I protect them. It's a sense of protection. It's a sense of responsibility. And then if you look very, very closely inside of their eyes, you can see my reflection inside of their eyes. If you look very, very closely, you see my reflection inside of their eyes. But yeah, because they are the, they are the wisdom. They're the seeds and they're the wisdom. And so it's very, very important that we set, like when Bailey, every day when I wake up, like, and even if I make sure I have a certain intention and a certain energy that I go throughout the day. Like to be melanated in this space is it's that's what it is. It's and to be a melanated woman also, to be able to, I like I said, a lot of times too, people think that like, when you've made it at a certain, whatever making it is, when you've made it to a certain point that you certain energies kind of go away. And it's like, no, like I'm not saying that I don't have any of these energies, but I have a reference point to not allow for it to consume me and confine me, and not allow for it to identify who I am, because I know who I really am. But to go back to your question, yeah, it's a responsibility and it's an accountability that we need to, for sure, have over our children, because they're watching us more than we think. They're absorbing and they're consuming a lot more than we think. And they are the future, literally, not to sound cliche, but they are the ones, like Bailey right now, when she's looking at me, when I wrap my hair, when I tell her about the ancestors, there's certain things that, like I said, when we're not being saved, I wish I had my rites of passage. Like even her having sacred teams, if I had my rites of passage at 5, what? Like if I would have known how to eat from 5, if I would have known melanin is beautiful from 5, if I would have known the beauty of my people from 5 or 4, if I would have known how to breathe or meditate from that young, like, whew, we learn it. We sometimes don't learn it, and we don't learn it until like a older age. And so for me, it's my signature shot, but it reminds me to also make sure that I hold myself accountable for our seeds. Like they're very, very important. So yeah, I don't know if I answered all of it. Yeah.
So this is my friend Jill invited me here. This is my first time.
Yes, and let me speak to this. So I met this sister at Beats Cafe. What street was it on? It was in Brooklyn. Yeah, it's in Brooklyn. And this is a prime example when I say, when you see your people, you make sure you speak to them and acknowledge them. So I met her. I think I said I love your skin, or I said something like beautiful or something like that. I greeted her like that, and I said, yo, come to the exhibition, and activate your spirit. And she showed up not only for me, but she showed up for our people. Because like I said, it's bigger than me. So I thank you for showing up for our people. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. And thank you for bringing, and then what she did is she brought somebody else. So it's another energy. So thank you for coming. Right. Oh, you too. Okay. Thank you. Right. Oh, okay.
But my question is, I'm very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things you were referencing that I just don't know. Like you were saying the rites of passage, or you were saying, talk about gateways and sacred women. And for someone who is spiritual, I like to learn more about my mother's from Haiti, and my great-grandmother, she practiced a lot of natural, like medicine, herbalism, prayers, spirituality, and I feel like it got lost along the way, being first-generation American. So I'm trying to find my way back to that spirituality. So how can someone like me, where do I go to learn? Like just to learn?
Well, I'm going to let her, because what I'm speaking about is from the knowledge of her, but what I will say is she has this book called Sacred Woman. Amazing, amazing book. If you get the book, you will be able to learn a lot of knowledge. But going through the rites of passage with the book, it allows you to be accountable. And 2, it allows for you to have a sisterhood with it, to where a lot of times, a lot of this information early on can be really heavy. Or if you're feeling emotional or depressed or whatever, like, because a lot of trauma comes up in when we heal, right? And so a lot of times you need like a sacred space, or like you need people around you that will help you through the journey. And so with the rites of passage, like there's nothing like feeling the fortifying energy of a melanated woman. Like, and it's like thousands and thousands of melanated women. Like, it's a lot of them. And like, it is just like, I can't even really explain it, but it is truly, truly amazing to be able to feel, to be able to read the book, and then it's like you read the book, but then like the rites of passage is the energy from the book. Like it's like it's a movie. Like it's like you read it, go through the gateways, and then like you have like the women that are like, yeah, it's amazing. But I'm gonna let her finish. But it literally like it's and also one of the things I just thought about is like a lot of times in society, melanated women are very catty towards each other. We're very against each other. So in that space, like no matter what, I remember in one of the sessions, like, yo, you leave that out the door. Like it's nothing but building inside of there. Like any conflictions you have with your sister, like, yo, that's your sister. And the one common denominator is building and real unconditional love. Like you have to like, we're not really in spaces, we don't really have to show up for each other. But in this space, you have to show up for each other. And then when you have that accountability for it in that way, it reminds you to always show up for yourself. Because you have somebody telling you to show up for yourself, and then you show up for yourself by feeling that energy. But I'm gonna let her, Queen, like finish it all. That's all right. It's just amazing. I'm sorry. I can go on and on. It's just amazing. It really is. It really is.
Well, it's interesting. For about 30 years, I've been teaching it. I think I stopped at some point in the middle for 1 year. Well, we're getting ready to have a century in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the graduation. It's very full. And I will not be teaching it this semester for the first time in maybe 2 decades. But it gives you time to prepare because I will be teaching again in the spring, summer. Epson Necklace, this is one of our teachers, one of our master teachers. Yes, yes.
And she was amazing, by the way.
And so that gives you time to get the book, Sacred Woman Guide to Healing from the Body, Mind, and Spirit. And and when you read it, don't look at you have to memorize any of it. It's a living book. And you know how to learn it by being with the women, by watching them and talking to them, because they teach each other and they're growing together. And yes, everyone's accountable. If there's an issue that comes up, okay, let's talk about it. Let's work it out.
Yep.
We don't just let stuff and bury it. We have to share it. Because we come already broken, hurt, wounded, sad, depressed. So we're here to heal. And that compassion and all that together. So I look forward to you joining us and being ready, and anyone else would like to join. How long have you been I mean, I would myself would be convinced after this presentation.
You know what it is too? It's like having like a lot of your aunties like in one big, it's bomb. Like it's like hella aunties just like around you. Like it's really, really dope. But I wanted to lastly say, because this is a very big thing too, is like it's investment. And so like it teaches you to like, yo, you have to invest in yourself. Like you have to do the work, but invest in yourself. It's an investment. And it's not something to where, like I said, a lot of people feel like she's there to hold your hand. And it's like, she is there, like the teachings and the videos and stuff, but it's like, you have to do the work. If you don't do the work, you're gonna feel like you didn't get nothing out of it, but that's because you didn't do the work. All of it is there. But if you don't do the work, you're gonna feel like, okay, what, you get what I'm saying? So you definitely have to do the work, but it's an investment. And just like anything else is, whether it's investing in art, whether it's investing in your melanated own business, it's like all of it is an investment. So we have to get back into like realizing that prioritizing, investing in ourselves in the different ways that we need to do so. But it definitely is it's an investment, and it's an investment worth investing in, for sure. It definitely is. But yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Yes, I would. Yes. Hold on. One more thing. Yes, one more thing. One more thing. And these flowers, dun 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 dun. I told him I was gonna do this. These flowers is for King Richard. See what I mean? This is an example right here of a melon of this is what I mean while we come back and we make sure we love our melon. I wanted to say on camera that I love you. I love you. And I'm thankful for not only what you created for just me, for all of our people. Thank you for this. Thank you. You are an impeccable man, an impeccable father, an impeccable, really, both of you, elders, and we need the elders. I'm able to walk out of here and continue the work because I know I have a backing. I have a backing from both of you. And that's why I'm able to continue and to reach my highest of self, because we have the elders. And so I thank both of you for creating the space for us to thrive, because we're lacking in that. Like, look what like both of you both have been able to bring an energy together of our people and shift the energy and transform. Like I've been transformed from the rites of passage. I've been transformed from being represented by you, you know? And I just wanna say a lot of our elders are not getting their flowers. So I wanted to make sure they both get their flowers because it's bigger than me. And so I thank you.
Wait, okay, I'm an elder now.
Well, you know, if you're one day, if you have a twin and you're one moment before them, you are then considered what? Or if you are ahead of them,
But really when
you're
I
the
mean,
elder,
yeah,
the one who knows, the one who has the
right,
wisdom.
that's what I was gonna say, really.
This is wisdom inside
Right.
you. How did you do it? The question is, how in the world did you do it?
Right.
And have sustainability and be able to bring you in and show all of your art.
Yes.
So there's a story that we all want to know.
Yes.
Because it's amazing.
Yes.
Let's give another round of applause
Yes.
for Richard Beavers
Another round of applause.
Gallery. Yes.
And I know everybody is getting up, but I wanted to just
Amazing.
slightly say that before you leave out of here, there is a spiritual war going on right now.
Yes.
Please make sure to do your breathing work. Remember yourself, like really check in with yourself. Be around your tribe of people that really see you, and that really can love upon you. You're deserving of all the love. If you can, she has amazing products like Master Herbal, Green Breath of Life, Green Life. Oh, I said that right. Green Life. She has this amazing clay for our trauma, like when we're feeling like physical trauma. That she has amazing rejuvenating clay. But yes, please make sure you breathe and nourish yourself and realize like that is key. Like no matter, I know in this society we're taught to like money, do, but realize that you only got one body. One of the things I realized when my mom transitioned is that she transitioned, but everything else was left here. And I was only left with the memories that I created with her and the memories she created for herself. Remember to go out and experience. It's a lot of fear-based energy out. So remember to walk out with the agency of like the inner knowing of like that you are not within any fear. Turn all fear into excitement and experience, really experience. But most importantly, like create your own self-care nourishment, whatever that looks like. When you wake up every day, care for yourself first and then go out into the world. Yeah. Don't forget that. That's the first navigation because like I said before, nobody's coming to save us. You have to save yourself. No one's about to come and save you and tell you to take care of your family and take care of your kids and take care of yourself. So you have to be around people that are going to remind you to do that and remind yourself to do that. But I thank all of you for showing up for me. Thank you. Thank you so much.